wait about 2-ish minutes just to get people settled, because I know that not everyone's going to be here exactly right now. So just take a second. If you have your notes or if you have another sheet of paper, just get that out, get yourself situated, and then we're going to begin momentarily. All right, so if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat. I'll be checking it on my phone. So if you have any questions, oh, by the way, there's also a little bit of a lag. So when I do something here, it'll take a minute or so for you to see it on your screen. So if you ask a question, I won't answer it immediately. Or it'll seem like I'm waiting a little bit. It's because I'm answering it right when I see it, and then when you see it, it's gonna or hear it, it's gonna be a little bit after. So anyway, let's begin. I don't know how many people are here right now, but that's fine. We will begin and see how this all goes. So first live stream at Hawthorne High School. By the way, if you're here, please leave your name in the chat. I might give you something. We'll see. I haven't decided just yet. Alright, so we're going to begin looking at the notes that we were taking in class and just kind of go from there. There's going to be a lot more practice time than we had during class, and I'm probably not going to give you like all the time that you might need, but more like I'll give you some time to work on the stuff, and then I'll give you the answer as we go, and I'll be doing the problem as you watch. So my suggestion is to try it on your own while I am doing it, and then look up to check, because that's going to be the best result for you. Let me make sure I'm on the right, yeah, on the right layer, yes. Slope. A little bit big. So remember when we have y equals mx plus b form, this is something that you're going to see a lot. This is very important. M represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. So also, you guys probably know that I teach in Spanish also, and I have some other students with other languages, but unfortunately all I know is Spanish, so I'll be translating some of this into Spanish as well. Voy a traducir en español también un poco. Okay, so slope, pendiente, y, intercept, intercepto de y. Okay, slope is rise over run. So this basically means vertical change divided by horizontal change. So in a graph, you would see something like this. Wrong direction. You'll see let's say that that is a line. So if you take 2 points, you can see how they change in the vertical direction and how they change in the horizontal direction. That is exactly what the slope is. This thing divided by this thing. So if you were to be asked directly what to do on a test, it would just be subtract the y's divided by subtract the x's. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Essentially, it's that. So I'm sure we all have this one down. This was one of the parts that in class we got really well. So I'm going to move on to the next thing just so that we can understand more of the things that are giving us trouble. Because slope is not necessarily the thing that was giving us trouble. So we were more or less okay on this one, so I'm going to skip that for now. If you would like to see this specifically, please leave it in the chat. I will go back to it. Okay, so graphing, it seems like we were okay with graphing lines. Again, if you need to see this or would like to see this, leave it in the chat, and then I'll go back to it. Si realmente necesitas ejemplos de graficar líneas, por favor, dígame en el chat. I do not know how to say that in Spanish. Obviously, you guys know I'm not a native speaker. All right, inequalities. This was one of the ones where I think we need a little bit more help on. So, we have these symbols. We need to understand what these mean. So these two, I'll start over here. So these are less than, menor que, and these are greater than, mayor que. The difference is with these little line thingies. The line means equals to. So essentially, the first thing you always want to do with an inequality is solve for y. Get y alone. This is something we've done a lot during class. I'll do this one as an example, and then I'll give you guys time to do the others. While you are doing the others, I am going to do them, but obviously, like I said, the best thing for you to do is to not watch me do it, but do it yourself. Obviously, I cannot control if you do that or not, but I suggest that you're going to have to do that on the test. So, solve for y. We want to get y alone. So I'm going to do the work on the side over here. I'm going to make this brush a bit smaller, just so that I can fit a bit more work here. Your pencil or pen is definitely a lot smaller than my brush, so I'm just having a bigger-ish brush so that you can see it more easily. So 3x minus 2y less than 4. So we can subtract 3x from both sides. A common mistake that I see is 4 minus 3. The 4 and the 3 have nothing to do with each other. You can imagine it like saying 4 minus 3 apples. What is 4? Is it apples? It is not. So the 4 and apples have literally nothing to do with each other. So what I would tell you to do is put minus 3x and then plus 4, because that 4 is a positive. And then here we can divide by negative 2. After we divide by negative 2, these ones cancel, and then I'm just going to erase that just so that no one gets confused by accident. And then y is greater than, so that changes. And then I'm going to do extra work here. You do not have to do this work unless you need to. Some people just need it, that's fine. Then we get that. So some of you may be able to just simplify that directly, and then we get negative over negative is positive, 3 over 2x, and then 4 over negative 2, that's going to be a minus 2. Alright, so this is what we got so far. And then now we can just graph this exactly like a line. But we have to be careful of one little detail. So the sign that we have here is greater than. What this means is two things. The first thing is this is going to be a dotted line. And the second thing is it's going to be shade above. So make sure that you are doing that. So, okay, I need to make this brush a bit smaller again. Let's see. Okay, good enough. Okay, so let's graph this thing. Usually, you don't need to find the exact center of the graph paper. Don't waste your time doing that. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need to follow exactly how many I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing randomly and making it work. That's 6 as well, so that's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's also 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a lot harder to do on the computer than it looks. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sure, let's just do 6 all around. Why not? X and Y. Okay, so graphing a line, again, we're going to start at minus 2. So start at the y-intercept always. And then the slope says up 3, and then right by 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You do not need to show me the jumps like this. If it helps you, great. If not, it's fine. And then it's a dotted line, so you're just gonna connect it like this. On the test, I would like you to use a ruler. So please use a ruler. And it is gonna be shaded above because it is greater than. So for shading, you don't need to make it completely like filled in. You just need to do this and make it look like that is shaded above. This is enough. Alright, so I'm going to give you some time to work on this on your own. This shouldn't take a huge amount of time, so I'm mostly just going to give you time to do, let's say, number 12. And then while you're doing number 12, I'm going to do all the rest of them so that you can have like the answer up there to check. I just don't want to waste too much time practicing just like one little thing here. So I'll give you 5 minutes to do number 12 on your own. And while you are doing number 12, I'm going to do 12, 13, 14. And then later on, what I suggest is to practice doing 13 and 14 on your own outside of the stream. Okay. Otra vez en español. Ahora voy a darte tiempo para hacer número 12. Y cuando estás haciendo número 12 voy a hacer también. Entonces voy a hacer 13 y 14 también. Sugiero que hacer todos después de stream. Pero durante el stream solo quiero que todos hacer número 12 por lo menos. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to work on that while you work on that also. So I'll give a timer 5 minutes. So 6 minutes, let's change that to 5. Okay. And then after 5 minutes, I'll move on. You probably can't. Yeah. Oh well. Oh, there's more too. I'll do those. Alright, about 2 minutes left until I go over that. And the rest of these, I'll just start doing. Alright, so I'm going to go over what I did here, and then I'll finish this up later today, and then I'll post this on Canvas. Okay, so number 12, I added x to both sides. The reason for that was to get rid of the minus x here. Then we have negative 3y less than or equal to x plus 6. Remember, the x and the 6 cannot combine. And then divide by negative 3 to get rid of the 3, because negative 3 is multiplying to y. And then we have this. Again, you don't need this step necessarily. Then I got here by simplifying all that. And then when we start at negative 2, and then go down 1 over by 3, down 1 over 3, and then this is solid and then shaded above because it's greater than or equal to. Okay, so yeah, the rest of these, I'm going to put that onto Canvas later. I'm gonna just finish doing it right after the stream. Okay, solving systems. So we have substitution and elimination. So for substitution, what we need to do is we isolate for one variable. So isolate one variable, and then substitute into other equation. Remember, this means equation. Solve for other variable, and then solve for initial variable. Sometimes you will get a system that's a lot easier to do by substitution. For example, so let's ignore this one for now. Let's just say, for example, you have something that looks like this. Y equals, what was the one I did yesterday in class? I think it was like 2x minus 30. Yeah. And then x plus y equals 51. So in this case, you already have y equals something. So this is already half the work. This is step 1. Isolate one variable. We did. Or the problem already gave you one variable isolated for. Sometimes you get that. If so, great. So what you can do then is just literally isolate that, substitute that in. At this point, add those together. And then add 30 to both sides. Then we get 3x equals 81. Divide this by 3. You will be able to use a calculator on the test, just not your phone. So if you forget one on Monday, that's fine. Just do everything you can without a calculator. And we're finishing the next day, so you'll be able to finish. Just bring a calculator that next day. Then that equals 27. But we are not done. We have done that, and that, but we did not solve for the initial variable yet. What we can do then is plug this x. We have x now. We can put it into here. Or here. Whoops. Either one works. I highly suggest this one because it has y equals. So y equals this. 2 times 27 minus 30. Because again, x is 27. Then we get 54 minus 30 equals 24. So this was actually from a different problem. I'm going to show you that problem real quick, and we're going to talk about it briefly. So here is that problem. So we had a system here, and it said Mr. Chow is 30 years younger than twice Mr. Su's age. If you don't know, Mr. Chow is just one of the other teachers at Hawthorne. So how we can kind of understand this? We have two quantities, and then we have a few statements here, and then a word. Is means equals. And then 30 years younger. So that means we're going to have a minus 30 somewhere, and then twice of something. We don't know what that something is. We just call it Mr. Su's age or something, I guess. So what that tells you then is this thing equals minus 30 and 2 times something. And then it shows you this. Y equals 2x minus 30. That's the system. So what that tells you then is this first something. I'm going to use like, I don't know, like a star. So star is minus 30 combined with 2 times the box. So that means the star represents this. So that means this thing is the same thing as y. And then this, the box, is the other thing. We can represent that with x. So when you're given word problems, what you want to do is understand what is the most, like what each thing represents. So you're going to get an answer at the end, but you need to know what that answer means. How you will know is by reading. So a lot of this is going to be actually reading comprehension. Okay, so for elimination, I'm going to show us one quick example here. I'm going to choose, how about this one? Yeah, this one. So in this case, either one would be usable, but I would suggest elimination. The reason for that is because we have a 2 and a 4. This is going to be coming in handy because we can turn 2 into 4. How we do that is multiply by 2. And then we have, I'm going to write that first thing here again. 4x minus y equals 20. We did nothing to it except for write it. Alright, so now we distribute this whole thing in. Negative 4x plus 4y equals 20. Okay, well now we can cancel that out. And then we end up with nothing there. And then minus y plus 4y. So it's kind of like saying 4y minus y. So like 4 apples minus 1 apple. How many do we have? 3. 3y equals, and remember, so we're combining these. We're adding these all together. So 20 plus 20 is 40. And then we end up with, I feel like this was supposed to have 30 somewhere. But, oh well. This is gonna be so much fun. I mean, it's not that terrible, just a little bit. Then we get 40 over 3. Huh. I'm pretty sure I made a typo somewhere. One of these was definitely supposed to somehow get. Anyway, that's what we get. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes. Oh no, I see the mistake. That was supposed to be. Sorry. That was supposed to be a minus. Somehow I changed those. Hopefully you caught that. Don't worry, mistakes happen. That's fine. We have minus y minus 4y. So we're doing that in the same direction. It's all in the negative direction. So we have this. So like I keep saying in class, mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them. I saw there was a mistake. I learned from it. It's just sometimes you're careless while you're doing your work. That's okay. Again, just learn from it. Then we got this. By the way, chances are if you get a weird number on the test, that might be wrong. I don't know for sure, but usually we design the tests so that things will not be too crazy. So if you get something like 40/3, might be slightly not correct. So yes, always check that. Okay, so we have the value of y. So now we can plug it into either one of these to solve for x. Honestly, it doesn't really matter which one. They're both equally like, So let's choose, I don't know, the first one, because why not? So again, y is -8. So this is -8. So you can write 4x minus -8 equals 20. 4x, so minus negative means plus. Plus 8 equals 20. Subtract 8 from both sides. We end up with 4x equals 12. Divide by 4, x equals 3. So how you should be writing the solution is this. It is a coordinate 3, -8. Because remember, the solution to a system of equations like this, remember, it's a line. So it's going to be a point. You want to understand that it is a point, not just two random values of x and y. And again, the rest of these, I'm going to leave the solutions. I want you to do them, and I'll put it onto Canvas later on today after the stream, because I don't want to only focus on this while we have a whole bunch of other things to work on. So try them all yourself. Look for the solutions on Canvas. Yes, I did change this slightly from the original version that I gave you guys. The reason is because I thought that maybe I need some more space or whatever. If you need more space, use paper, and then just what is it? You may use those extra papers on the test. Okay. Now we got some of these. The thing that you want to do with these problems, again, is to isolate for y, and then graph, and then shade, because they are all inequalities. Inequalities, what you're going to do is just that. So let's do number, I'm going to do 22. I don't think I did that one in every class. I did that in, I think, third period, and only third period. So let's just do that one there. Actually, I'm going to do 24, and then I'll have you guys do the other ones. So before beginning, always read the instructions. It says to graph. So especially if you're a language learner, but also for everybody, you graph and then determine. So you want to know what verbs are there. So that's like, what are the things you're supposed to do? So what is the question asking you? Because if you don't do what the question is asking you, obviously you will not get full credit. So do whatever the question asks for you to do. So graph and then determine whether or not the given points are part of the solution set. Defend your answer with academic language. Here's a bit of a frame that you can use. I believe blah 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 are part of the solution set because something. And then I believe the ones are not because reason. So because is very important. You want to have a reason. Most of the points on the test or on like anything actually nowadays, is going to be for the reason, not just for the answer. The answer is not the most important part. The reason is. So I'm gonna do the work for these two. So the first equation, I meant to do that in black, is going to be minus 3x plus 5y less than 10. So again, add 3x to both sides. 5y is less than negative, 3. That's technically correct, but it's going to be easier this way. And then we get y is less than 3 over 5x minus 10 over 5 is 2. So we get that. So this is one of the equations. Next one, or not equation, inequalities. Then the next one we have 3x minus 2y is greater than or equal to 8. Add 3x. Minus 2y is greater than or equal to 3x plus 8. We divide by negative, so this sign will change to less than or equal to. Then we have negative 3 over 2x. 8 over negative 2 is going to be negative 4. Okay, so let's graph the lines. If I recall, we needed quite a bit of space, so this should be fine. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I always make it so that there's 7 here. I don't know why. The graph paper you have on the test is a little bit different, but just count. Numbers are still the same. You can still count. Four, 5, 6. It'll be a lot easier to count on paper. It is significantly harder than it looks to count on Photoshop. I don't know why. Probably because it's not a physical thing. Minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 7. Okay. So we're going to graph both lines. So the first one I'm going to graph is this one. So we have minus 2, and then up 3. 1, 2, 3, over 5. It's over here. And then again, this is dotted because it's just less than, no equal to sign. Then we have this one. Start at, actually let's shade this one first, just so that we don't get things confused. Less than is under. All right, then let's graph the other one. Start at minus 4. And then down 3 over 2. And this one is a solid line, so let's do that. Again, using a ruler, yours is going to look a lot better than this. I can technically use the pen tool. That's just a Photoshop thing. Does this, makes straight lines and stuff. Amazing tool. So you can see why this is preferable. Straight line, you can see a lot of the things a lot more easily. Okay, so this is what we got. It's going to be less than as well. So all the points that are within the solution set are going to be in this little crosshatch area. So it's this part, but not on the dots. So let's just check some things. So if we have, for example, -2, -1. So let's see, -2, -1. Is this point part of the solution set? Meant to do that in black. Okay. Is this part of the solution set? No. The reason is because it's not in here. Alright, 0, -2. 0, -2. Is that in the solution set? No, for two reasons. One, it's not in here. And because it is on the dotted line. How about -2, 0? -2, 0 is right there. Also not in the solution set. Alright, -1 and then -3. Right here. Is it in the solution set? Yes. So, no. Yes. And then I'll zoom slightly out so that I can kind of get those. So I believe that -1, -3 is part of the solution set because it is in the... Yeah, I should have made more space there. Oh, well, next time. It is in the overlapping region. And I believe the others are not. Just for time, I'm not going to write those ones. Actually, no, I'll do it. -2, -1. 0, -2. -2, 0 are not part of the solution set because they are not in the overlapping region. So that's essentially what you'd be looking for. Alright, now we are going to talk about systems and start creating them. I did 25 in class, so I'm going to do... Actually, no, I'll do that one again, just because I think we might need review on that. It's good to kind of revisit the same thing because we've seen it before. Now we can process it again in a little bit of a better light. So, a company has to buy computers and printers. So you want to annotate stuff. You want to underline, okay, computers and printers. So these are two different things. If you're in my language class and you don't, like, the thing you want to understand in the problems is what's going on. So you don't have to know what a computer and printer is. All you need to know is that there are two things. So you've seen me do this. Information. Buying computers and printers. So solo estamos comprando dos cosas diferentes. That's all you need to know. Solo necesitas saber que hay dos cosas diferentes que para comprar. That's what's happening. We're just buying two different things. And at each computer. So let's make variables because what you want to do is create a system. So goal. Create system of equations. So E, Q, and S, again, that means equations. So buying computers. So let's say let C represent the number of computers. Bought. And let P represent the number of printers bought. Alright, so Let's look at what else we know. All the information we know. Each computer costs $550. Each printer costs $390. So again, remember, the goal is to create a system of equations. The temptation is to just start plugging in random numbers to get something to work. Do not do that until the end. Actually, do not plug in random numbers ever. So again, information. We have information about cost. So $550 each computer. I'm just gonna abbreviate computer. And then $390 each printer. So we know information about cost. And then now, how about amount bought? So what we know is total 16. And we know one more thing about cost. So combined, 8,160. And then we know information about the amount bought, which is 16. Okay, so now let's create our equations. Equation 1. I'll do it down there. Whoops. That works too. Or maybe it doesn't. Okay. Equation 1 is going to be about the cost. Equation 2 is going to be about amount. AMT means amount. So let's start with equation 2, and then I'll show you why I'm doing it like this a little bit later. So C is the number of computers bought, P is the number of printers bought. So if you put them together, that is the total amount bought. Total amount. That was supposed to be an a B. Bought. The number is 16. So then we also have this. So essentially the thing that's going on here is we can multiply the cost to the amount bought, because that will give us how much of this thing, how much money we spent on this thing. Like if we have, if we bought 2 computers, then it's just the same thing as 550 times 2. If we bought 3 computers, it's 550 times 3. That's how much it's going to cost. Okay, so next thing, we have the system. Now we are going to solve it. So in this case, we are going to, let's see, either substitution or elimination works. I'm going to show us, let's do elimination. So what I can do here is multiply by negative 390. So the reason for that is because we can get a 390p over here, a negative 390p. Negative 390c minus 390p equals, this is one of those things you're going to use a calculator on. 16 times 390 is going to be, and it's negative, so negative 6240. And then we can start canceling things out. 550 minus, yeah. We get 160c equals, and then again, you can calculator that thing. 8160 minus 6240 is 1920. divide by 160. Then C equals let me get that, 12. So then you can plug this number, or substitute this number into there. So we got C plus P equals 16. So that means 12 plus P equals 16 minus 12. I mean, that gave away the answer, but you know. And then we get P equals 4. So you're going to need to know what this means. So what you want to write, or at least understand, is bought 12 computers and 4 printers. So I don't remember, it may or may not be just a multiple choice question, but you're gonna need to know what each thing is and how much of whatever there was. Okay, so I think we're getting toward the end of the stream. I'm gonna do one more here, and then again I will upload these notes onto Canvas, and the video is gonna be saved onto Twitch and YouTube. I have not gotten any questions in the chat yet, so I don't know if that means that people are understanding things or if it's okay and they're just writing things down. I mean, that's fine. So I'm gonna do 28 here because it does ask this thing at the end. That's gonna be important. So here we're gonna have inequalities, and I'm gonna kind of explain. How do we know that? So information. When you have word problems, always write down information. Every single thing matters. And again, the goal, create inequalities / equations. In this case, it'll just be inequalities, not equations. Again, you'll see why. So, graph paper and printer paper. All right. Buying graph paper. And then printer paper. Again, it might be seem silly to write this, but you need to understand it. So I'm just gonna put G for graph paper. Let G represent the number of packs. So why am I putting that? A pack. Un paquete. Pack, paquete. So it's just one unit. That's how we are counting it. So it says $2 a pack. Dos dólares por paquete. So 2 packs. There's the number of packs of graph paper bought. So I'm gonna erase this just for space. Okay, I'm just gonna put printer there. No, I'll put printer paper. And then let P represent the number of packs of printer paper bought. By the way, when you're solving real life problems with equations like this, do this as well. I know I said I was going to do like some example with like real life stuff, such as like how do you compare coupons. Didn't quite have time to do that just yet. as you can probably tell, I'm extremely busy, but I'm trying my best. I will get that example up there sometime as well. Or maybe I could just try to make it up right on the spot, right after this one. Anyway, so what other information? We know a few things. We know information about cost. And we know information about, I'm going to put number because I think that was, yeah, about number because I used number over here. So let's just use the same thing. So cost, what information do we know? So printer is $2 per pack. Every pack is $2. And then graph. We have $3 per pack. And then the number. So in this case, we don't know exactly how much. We have instead another word, at least. So we are looking for at least 6 packs. So at least means equal to 6 or more. So 6 or more. More would mean greater. So we can put the greater than symbol. And then 6 or means that we are including 6. So we get this. And then what else do we know? Spend at most $27. So at most $27. So at most means that you're saying like the biggest number is 27. El número más grande es 27. See? So what that tells us then is, oops, clicked that by accident, is what we want is less than 27. But it could include it because we're saying at most, so 27 or less. Okay, so let's get our inequalities. So I'm gonna abbreviate it inequality 1. So this is gonna be about cost. Inequality 2 is gonna be about number. So the cost one, we're gonna have, what was it, GNP, and then here the number one, we have GNP. So we know that GNP together should be more than or equal to 6. So a G costs 3 and a P costs 2, and we're less than or equal to 27. So with these, again, what we do is we solve them for basically y. So you can kind of look at this as x and y. So we got 3g plus 2p less than or equal to 27 minus 3g both sides, and we get 2p less than or equal to negative 3g plus 27. Divide by 2. And then p is less than or equal to 3 over 2g plus, oh, that's great. Oh well. 27 over 2. I would have made that like an even number, but I got this from our book. Oh well, we'll make it work. This is, if you were to divide that, that's 13.5 by the way. So 13.5. Anyway, so this is kind of the same thing as saying y is less than or equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 13.5. Okay. And then the other one, easier. G plus p greater than or equal to 6. So then what we get here is minus g, and then p is greater than or equal to minus g plus 6. And again, you can look at this kind of like y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 6. And then from here, we are going to graph those two. I'm going to move this graph down. I mean, you probably won't have to on yours just because your writing is probably not going to be as like ridiculously big as mine here. So I'm just going to move that thing real quick so that we can see it all down here together. Okay. So we can graph this. Let's see, let's be a bit smart about this. We're going to need a lot more positive, so let's do it like this. Because also negative doesn't really mean anything. Like, what does negative money mean? That means you owe someone, but in this case, that doesn't make any sense because we're just buying stuff from a store. So you can have something like this. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're gonna have that 13.5 up there. And I'm gonna put the G and the P. Okay, so 13.5 is gonna be up there, so we're gonna just graph the first one first. And then down 3. It's gonna be interesting. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And then over by 2. So 2 is over there. Let's just take that thing up here. I'm only doing it like that because it's a lot harder to see on a computer somehow. Okay. So I'm just gonna do those two blocks right now. And I'm gonna do the shading in red. And this is gonna be a solid line. So I'm gonna pen tool it just so that it's gonna be a lot easier to see everything. Okay. I mean, just so there's a lot like nicer to look at and more accurate. Again, you should use a ruler so that yours is very accurate as well. And we want this less than, so less than or equal to everything in this region. All right, next one. Easier to graph. Nicer numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then down 1 over 1. Gonna pen tool it again. Something along those lines. No pun intended. And it's going to end up being all the stuff in this range. So the question that they ask here is 8, 4 a solution? So let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 is there. And I go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8, 4 is up here. Is this part of the solution? No. No, because it is not part of the overlapping region. So you could expect things like this on the test. You're gonna have to check to see if things are overlapping, like within that overlapping region, and then say, is this a solution or not? Or you're gonna have to see, is there a solution? So let's actually check a specific solution. let's see, 1, 2, 3. So 3 comma 1, 2, 3, 4. This is part of the solution set, right? 3 comma 4. And make that a bit darker or bold faced. So this means 3 packs of, I believe, graph paper, 3 graph, and 4 printer. This is a solution. So one possible solution. Alright, so this brings us to the end of the stream. I don't want to use too much of your time as well with the stream, so I'm going to leave it here. It's been a little bit over an hour. I think that's enough for us to process. So the main things that you're going to need to do: solve equations, solve inequalities, understand and interpret solutions and the problems. This should go without saying, but also graphing those things. Graphing when needed. Okay, so again, this is the end of the stream. I haven't really seen any comments. It's possible that the stream wasn't quite working the entire time, because I actually have the stream open in another tab and it doesn't seem like it's notifying me, or I don't hear myself anymore, so something went wrong. But I do have the video recorded, so it'll be uploaded to YouTube and to Twitch as well. So thank you for watching. Good luck on the test. See you all on Monday.